Okay, following on from the last instance, we've already made sure that the wires came down through the Z-axis nut block. I know I'm going to need my little heated insert tool here for this at some point. So let's let that heat up. Okay. So in the meantime, right, we're looking to do this portion now. So get some of these extra things out of the way for a moment, because we need to be over on this side. We're going to attach here and come down to there. This is for our Z-axis cable chain. It's funny because I've heard various things about cable chains being used, and I've had mixed results being told. Right, so I need to get that to go into this little bit here. Let's see if I can reach that a little better by moving that out of the way and bringing this down in straight. Okay, now let's see how that does. That's it. There we go. Now, this needs to come up. And this will need to ultimately why is that? That is interesting, because that's making me think that I've got these backwards, even though I don't. So the end piece of the chain was attached in an earlier step. If you swap them by accident, put the printer on its side, you can easily swap them back. This is the one with the holes. The other end is the one with the pegs, so that is right. This is highly interesting, because this, when this is fully up, and a lot higher than that, should not hit. So there's definitely something wrong about that. That can go that way, but that's the wrong direction. Why is that? That definitely folds down further, so that means there's something to do with this. There's definitely something to do with this. I need to see why this is feeling wrong. Okay, that definitely can bend backward that way. So why would it? Let's zoom that all the way down. Yeah, now see, that is starting to look a little bit more like what I expected. Maybe you do have to force it a little bit. That's much more like it. So the second knot lot, something is definitely not where it's supposed to be, I think. Let me just have a look at this. Something is preventing that. That's the top of the run where it's hitting the stops. Right. Okay, so it says the exact number of chain links determined. Let's just see what happens. Yes, as it should do. So I actually need to remove 2 links out of this chain, I believe, because that is the absolute top. Let's see if I can get my thumbnail in there to do this. Nope, not so easy. I think that's the other reason I've always tried to avoid cable chains, is because they can be awkward little things. Nope, I have to use my little pin thing here. Yep, there we go. That's it. In there. Something a little bit stronger. Come on. I'm trying to do this without being too forceful. There we go. 2 links up. And maybe 3. Okay, so maybe not that many. Let's just make it 1 more in the chain. So I'm just gonna see if I can. There's probably a better way to do this, but because I don't commonly use these, and this is a really tiny version. Let's see if we can shed some light on this. That's better. Now I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's the one. Right, so 1 link out. I wonder. Because realistically, I have a feeling this should never be at its stop point at the top. Let's see what that does with just with the 1 out. Come on. let's just try and get that on there as it is. Oops. Come on. Definitely some strong stuff. I'm guessing that it's like polypropylene or something, who knows. It's too tough to be, too flexible to be ABS. If it wasn't for that bottom panel. If they make a tool for this. That's it. There. Now let's see what that does with the movement. Now that's way too tight. Nope, I think I like it better when it has one extra link, because that felt a lot more like what I think it should have. So I'm going to add one more link here. Shaky hands. Probably one of those symptoms of getting old. Right. Who knows? Okay. There's got to be an easier way. There, that's one. That's it. That's one. That's the other. Why do I have a feeling I just did that backwards? And of course I did. Okay. No biggie. Learn a lesson every day. Trying not to end up using a knife on this, because knowing my luck, it'll slip out of my hand and I'll end up with a sliced finger or something. That's more like it. That's it. There we go. Yay. Okay. Now let's try that. That's one. That's the other. There we go. Right. Turn this back up and check the full run of it. It should not, according to them, extend past the extrusion when at the topmost, and there's no possible way that could be. So, I wonder if this, I was right, and just this bottom one needs to move. I wonder if that's what it is. Let's try that aspect. Maybe this does need to come down just a wee bit more. Yeah. Let's see what that does. And that does it. That is what we needed. So that needs to actually be all the way down, and you do need to remove at least one link. Mystery solved. Fantastic. Right. So, going to the next bit. Guide the heater and thermistor wires through the cable chain. Well, that's very interesting, because they didn't cover one of these aspects before, other than doing this. Now the problem I have here is that they didn't cover where these are supposed to go. I'm looking at, see, the problem here is that this is not the printed guide version, so it doesn't have the same things. So it's time to check the other reference to see what we do with that. So just gonna check another reference. Just going to bypass one aspect that we already had. Now I see why they didn't include the holes, because they put all of the bolts in and gave no access to the screws later on, should you need to. Okay. The guide is going into the cable chain thing now. Yeah. They chose to remove one as well, so at least I called that one. Right, so where does that go? Okay, so we do need our little thermistor wire, our heated bed wires, and they're going to show which way things get attached to that little thing here. Right. Looks like it's now that we know, I see what they're doing now. Now that they know how many of the links are to be here, they're making life easier getting this bit done by removing it again so that you can thread all your wires through it. Right. This is the one fun part about having parts that are not normally part of the official build, as per se. That's nearly it. Turn it this way, and it'll make it easier for me to see that. Come on. Probably could have also done this with a small screwdriver. Nearly there. That's it. This one goes this way. So I need to do like that. There we go. Right, so knowing that this goes like that, I need to get, here's our hotbed and thermistor wire. Go. So put that over in there. Let me just double check something here. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. So get these two together. These are our hotbed wires. This feels like silicone coated. And it is, what wire gauge? I'm curious. 20 AWG. So it's gauge 20 wire. And what feels like silicone insulation, which according to the little writing says it's good to 600 volts, which is interesting enough. Right. And then here is our thermistor wire for the bed thermistor. It's interesting, I was talking with a mate of mine. Apparently they also make mains powered silicone heaters for this. I thought, wow, that's a pretty insane amount of power for going through such a small area. Yeah, and I can see why you would want to do this here early on, because you got to kind of snake this on through. Actually, I wonder if I can do this the other way, because this is going to be the top. This needs to really go up through here. And that's only just big enough, I think. Are those the same connector on both ends? Yep, they're both the same connector, so it doesn't really matter which end of this, because they're both tagged as to what it is, I believe. Yeah, both tagged with TV or thermistor for a bed. So, time to try and work this carefully through. It looks like turning it on its side slightly gets it to slide through. There we go. It's always a fun little thing to do. I think the one time I did this on a cable chain, it was an absolute pain getting all the wires I needed to have it go through it. I did that on Frank, and I ended up residing to better having this have just what it needs, not a bunch of extra. That. Okay, and then that will come through so that it can probably have a little slack down there. Now, which end do they want? I have a feeling it's going to be the pointy ends. Yep. Right. Just checking this other thing. And looks like I'm right. Yep. Pointy ends, as I thought, because those are going to go into those Wago connectors. So this one is the bottom. Let's grab these two. And we're going to make these go up through as well. That went a lot smoother. There we go. There we go. And let's just see what they want us doing with that. Yeah, as expected, a little bit. Yeah, okay, so for the moment, let's just move in on forward on that. That's this end. Carefully. We're going to place that in like that. There we go. Okay, stay on there. There we go. I have a feeling, yeah, here there's a hole there. That's where that attached. Yeah, I have a feeling I know what they're going to do here. Okay, so anyway, this end, now that side of it, almost. Come on. Nice and careful. We do not need to be damaging any wires today. That's it. There we go. Probably something like this. Right, let's have a quick look and see what they think, where these are going to go. It's interesting because I found the 3 metal thumb knobs they use for this, for the bed screws, instead of the printed ones. Yeah, we know about that. Reconnect the cable chain, yeah. I want to know what the wire management is. Oh, that's cute where they're going to run that. Okay. Is that even existing on this end? Oh, hold on. You're joking. They did not show that. Hold on. This might be one of those very dangerous moments. Yep. Would have been nice to know that. Okay. So this is one of those rare occasions where lack of information led to mistake, which means that this front extrusion, I'm going to have to release it, which means I need to lock these preloaded nuts on that side, because this front extrusion needs to come out, and I need to take this and flip this base plate and flip it over, because with the way they showed it going in in the Voron guide, this is on this side. With this, it needs to be on that side, and both are the same matte finish, and because of that, obviously it makes it a very difficult thing. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this while we're on the video, so you can see just about how long it's going to take if you end up in this scenario. There's a small bonus to this, and I have now realized why blind joints are actually pretty awesome, because this would not have been possible in another way. Come on. I hope I didn't over tighten that one. There it goes. That's it. Now this is going to have to come out in order for this to work, I suspect. Yes, it is. And the same thing over here. So in a way, this is kind of very well thought out. This is going to be a challenge though, because there's 3 preloaded nuts down here, or 4 preloaded nuts here. that I need to be mindful of. So I'm going to do that, which will prevent those from getting away. Okay, 5 preloaded nuts. Forgot how many of those were in there. Unless no, that was from here, wasn't it? Yep, that was it. It was the 3 on the other side, which I just forgot about. Right, so I do have the right number here. That'll stop those. Let me pick up this one that dropped down here. Where did that go? I just had that. Got it. All right. This is the 3 from that one, which need to stay where they are, and I need to slide them way up there. Right, let's see if you're going to be able to see all the, oh, I'll have to do that in a minute. And then this needs to turn that way. That's it. I need to be careful, because if I'm not careful, it'll strip those nuts, and it'll make it an absolute nightmare to get them loose later. If I need to. That's it. Come on. Lego my Lego. Thank you. That's the way. Right, now just a little bit, and that should allow, maybe not, maybe this is not going to be so easy as I thought. Oh dear. Yeah. That is not fun. Not this far into a build. I know I could probably just run it around through here, but that's not the way to do it. And to get this far into a build and have something like this happen, as you can imagine, it's quite disappointing. But I'm actually going to have to take most of this frame apart in order to get this to, I think, yeah, because that slides that way, this slides this way. Yeah, I'm kind of stuffed. Well, that just puts a real dampener on things, because this panel needs to come out, and you can't make that happen if that won't slide back far enough to do it. Yep. it's not going to slide back far enough for me to let that release. Right, so with that, I'm not going to waste a ton of the video time doing this. I'll have to come back when I get it reversed. Okay, well, you know what they say about that. If there's a will, there's a way, and I have a way. I managed to figure out how to get this back to where it needed to be, but without having to take the entire build apart. And I've managed to get this right where it needs to be for every aspect. So I'm really pleased about that. And now you'll be able to see that hole is exactly where it should be now. Okay, so anybody doing this build, if you're watching this before starting the build, now you know that hole on that panel needs to be on the right. So let's get these down through here as they show. This is where I really wish, and I am going to probably feed this back to them, they need to update the relative pages to fit the kit, or have just those independent pages. Say, for this page, please do this, and for this page, please do that, if that makes sense. Okay, now I don't know if I have too much here or not enough, so I just need to quickly catch the next bit, because they definitely don't cover this in the build guide as per se with this carriage. Yeah, and they're going to have us run this right up to the top, just to make sure that nothing catches. There it is, right at the top, done. Okay. Yeah, they just said raise it all the way up to make sure the drag chain is not going to hit the top, which would prevent it from going to the top of the thing. Now, I don't have much of a gap like they do, but I can probably slide that down just a bit more and make up that difference. So I will probably do that in a few moments. Okay, maybe I'll do that right now. So I need to turn that back on its side, and that's fine because that no longer needs to be there holding those preload nuts in there. And just going to pause this. Weaving casing, where are they going to put that? Aha! So they're going to use some of that with the hot end, or the heater aspect. Okay, so I need to pull out that as part of this. Just move the tools. And we need the shorter. Yeah, the shorter of these two. So they want this bit. They want all of those right even with the ends. So that means this will also tell me how much I actually need at the same time. So let me put this down here, and let me go ahead and lower this down just a tad more, because they have clearly made accommodation for this. That's good. That's enough. So lock that down right there. There we go. So slightly below the surface, because it looks like this is a little bit longer end on the end of it, but I'll live. Okay, so that's that. Now, let's try and get these things together. And I think we're going to want a certain amount of this pulling through. Now they're like, get these up even with each other. So that to there, that to there, and let's just carefully pull those one at a time to get them up even with each other. There we go. Okay, now, and just wrap the hotbed cable, it says. Okay, I can do this. And this type of weave, anybody who's used it before, first place I ever got to use it was on a different brand of printer, and I really love this stuff because it just about wraps itself. Absolutely stunning stuff. Just about. Okay. That's it. I want it to go this way around. There we go. I think I'm going to stand up for this now so I can see what I'm doing. Just gotta kind of split it open like a pea pod and get this to go under the most curled edge, ideally. And then the other bit will just end up wrapping right around really nicely. That's it. And then I'll be able to pull it up a little bit snugger once I see what they're going to have me do here. And there we go. That's like that. Let's see how much overhang they want. I have a feeling they're about to ask for a zip tie. Because usually for stuff like this, you'll zip tie the ends. Okay, looks like they have about 30 millimeters sticking at the end. Just making sure. And what they're going to have it do. Okay, so they do actually pull it right up to... Right, okay, I see what they're getting ready to do. Right. Okay, so about 30-ish millimeters on there. I'm surprised they didn't have it yet zip tie that bit. But they do actually go right on up into there. And now you have about that much on the end. And they're going to go through there. Where are they going from there? Water management. To the support plate. I see. Okay. So they're gonna go, I see, in here, out here, and then up through here. Okay. So in here, and then go down. There we go. That's it. With the sheath protecting the wires through this opening. There we go. That's it. Here we go. Yeah, that looks about right. And then through there, and ultimately down to where that needs to be. Right, we're going to see what goes where here in a second. All the way up. Yeah. Oh, I see. So they don't exactly have this all the way up there. And yep, here comes the zip ties, as I thought. So let's follow the wire management exactly to the way they say. Yeah? So, zip ties galore. Here we go. Where are they going to have a zip tie? Sure enough, right on the end, as I thought. So there's going to be this much. I'm just going to tighten that up a little bit. Little zip tie around that. Just get it right about there. Nice and tight. That's it. Where's the next one? They're going to show how this probably secures. So get my cutters. Just clip this for now. There we go. Just pull these sleeves up. Right. Where's the next one? Yeah, the other's going to be here. And I see what they're doing. So, once you've worked out that there's just a little bit of play here with this, this way these can reach all the way over, even though just see if there's any holes down in there. That torch is just not doing the job. Let's grab the one that my lovely honey got me. Okay. Alright, so we have a screw there. that's probably going to be used in part for this. But now we can see that this is going to probably be something like that. And that has plenty of slack to work with, even if I go like that. Alright. So, put that torch back out of the way. There we go. Okay. Right. So they want another one up here, giving it just a little bit of looseness there. So here we go. That way. That's looking nicer. There we go. There we go. Nice and tight. And then there we go. That's that. Put those back up on the mag holder. Alright, what's next? Where's the next bit? Now, what are they going to have us do? Bet you that's going to be you going to zip tie that? No, he isn't. Okay. That's interesting. But he's going to leave. Oh, no, he isn't. Just catching a video for those just now checking this part out. They're showing the connector on the bottom of that piece in the middle. That is like a wiring bridge in a way. What is he doing? Which socket is that going to go in? Okay, right. So basically, let me go ahead and sort this bit out. Nice and reasonably tight to where that's supposed to be. I would have personally put a zip tie across here, but they didn't seem to do so. Now we're going to turn this this way. Let's see if I can get us some extra light. There we go. So this is going to start doing this stuff, I assume. There we go. Because he's prepping that by lifting those. I suspect one's going to go here and the other's going to go there, but it could be reversed. Alright, I was right. Okay. So he is doing that. Are these marked in any way? Are those marked? Let me just double check. No, but never hurts to check. Just to see if they have any particular preference. Aha, okay, so they are actually showing. Right, okay. Line is cross-connected in the temperature measuring line. Okay, so this one will go in the one that's closest to here. So this is our bed thermistor. Goes into the connector closest to the Wagyu, yeah? I'm just double checking these now. And then this will go to the opposite end. So these are obviously all together. Then hotbed red. So this one will go in the one closest to that. Oh, I see what they're doing. Okay, yeah, because that puts the fuse in line where it should be. That's why they use the Wagyu connectors. Okay, or Wago. I never know how to pronounce these silly things. So that's that one. I'm gonna have to get me some of these. Yeah, that's nice and tight actually. Okay, there's that. Now, this is the actual bed one. This is the fuse. So, one from the bed can now go into that. Just make sure that's in there. That's it. Okay, so now we have this hotbed line there, hotbed line here, you know, this is actually really good because it also takes advantage of the ferrules. This is the red connector one. Hold on, let me just pop that one out because I think I'm slightly backwards, but I just want to be sure. Hotbed red there, hotbed black here, nicely. Yeah, there we go. That's that. So that one, black, then black one. Right, okay. This one is next. And if you watch FYSETC's video, they have a close-up static image of what this should look like, which is quite useful. So I'm going to, however, take this out and go from the other end first. That's it. That's into there. I see they're doing positive and negative to positive and negative. Yeah, makes sense. And then the very last one on the end is your other end of the fuse. Fantastic. Okay. Alright. Get that one in there. There we go. Those two can lock down now. That's that one. That's that one. Lock them down. This one, while we're here, lock that one down. Is I can see why they do this now, because the wires on these are definitely not that big. Right, and with that, some little wire management and cleaning. And this I don't need to worry about. What is this? This is for something else, so let's put that over there for the moment. One other mod that you're going to see me do later on is going to change some of this, possibly for the better, but that's for a later discussion. I'm going to use an extra one here, just because I don't want that going anywhere it's not supposed to later on. That's it. Right. And clippers. Right, that looks rather tidy. See if there's anything else. And they're just showing him going through the painstaking thing that I just did. I just want to see what they think the next step is. I just want to see how they're going to secure that portion here. Looks like he's did the same thing I did. But I want to know. Come on, clip the zip tie. Yeah. Is there going to be another one here that holds those to the frame? No, guess not. Okay, I guess we're good to go with that. And this is just for the filament run out. And there's that. Right. Maybe I can go on to the next bit. Yep. Okay, so time to break out some printed parts and get ready for a fun one. Alright. So, get my tools over here. Make sure. It is time for the tool head. It's time to get the tool head together. So, the bag with the tool head is here. There we go. And yes, I kind of modded the one that they had by taking an inlay from another and making the smoothness to a degree. I got this to work out. Now this is one that also, if I remember correctly, I got from Printables, where they left the modded section here because they, unlike the original Voron builds, they don't have a set of nozzle LEDs in that regard. So that left some very awkward times. Put a few of these here. Got that there. And I think that's there we go. And I need this. Just to show you something that you might want to do later. These are for the springs. Helps keep them centered all the time, so they don't rock back and forth. That's actually not a bad idea, but that's going to be after the build, not right now. So just for food for thoughts for those that might want to think about that. There we go. I've got some modded lock bits, as I showed earlier in the beginning part of the video. Again, I'm not going to do that right now. And I also do have another piece that's made for the back of this, but I'm going to bypass that for the moment. There we go. Now, I think I ended up making two of this because I was trying to decide color scheme for a number of things. And I thought, oh, no, this is what it needs to look like. But, so I've got two pieces of the motor mount. You know, this is our cowl. This is the mid body. There's that for the guidler, as I think I read one person call it, or one article call it. Now, I think I'm going to skip that one though, because I was trying to decide what to do. And I thought, should I make it yellow? Should I make it black? I think I might actually still go with the yellow for now. But if I ever decide to change it, I've got the parts. And then I need these little standoffs, which there's been mixed emotions about that particular part as a point. So we'll see how that goes. You know what, actually, I think I will go with the black for the guidler and the latch. So let's just go with that. We can put that part back and that part back. because that's going to look rather snaz. Okay, right, so let's put this away for now. We can put that back up under here, and I know there is another piece of hardware. There it is. Boom. Right. This is the extruder parts. Might as well put that here. By the way, these are the original bed level knobs, which, as you know, we did the printed ones, but these are the ones that they showed in the video. If you want to use those, you can. There's nothing wrong with that in that regard. So with this, this should have nothing special beyond the guide, because this wasn't a modified part. Okay. Right, print head. Okay, so we start with moving some bits out of the way. Soldering iron is with the heat insert tool. It's completely ready. Up in the corner here, off screen. There is actually a version of this that puts heated inserts in this, but this doesn't use that, I don't believe. I could be wrong. I have to look at that again. Something says I might be wrong. Okay, so they want 3 there, 1 there, 4 there. Okay, so we need our brass inserts. Here we go. So let's put that there to the side. And black or yellow? Yeah, black. Black is seeming to make a feel right here. Let me just like to see that. See how that looks. You know, I like the black. Okay, black is in. That looks nifty. So, yeah. All right. Here we go. Okay, get this ready. This can go up here because it hasn't asked for it yet. Okay, so we need 3, 4, 8. So 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. 7, 8. And you usually have to do like with these because sometimes big fat sausage fingers just don't like certain things. But that's just me and my sausage fingers. So flip that over. That one goes there. There. There's one here. And one here. And I think I see where a person that remixed this from the original FYSETC part, which you know, to add the multi-body color scheme, or the FYSETC part is remixed because they had that in a slightly different place, whereas that was not expected there, unless I'm looking at Yeah. That is a part that I snapped in place. So there's me being silly because it fit so good it looked like it was part of it. Isn't that clever? Well then, let's just pop that out of there. That is a nice snug fit, which is, I think, some of the reason I liked this particular. This is the Polylite ABS Galaxy Black from, there we go, from Polymaker. So I think, yeah, there, that's more looking like the pictures. I thought I was going nuts there for a second. So we got one there. So we need 3 more, obviously. That's upside down. 2, 3. There we go. And does it say anything about these? Yeah. Put me here, good. Okay, so for this piece, I might raise the soldering iron's temperature a little bit, just to get a better bond. So it's important to get a good bond on that one, it says. Yep, okay, so with that, I might just raise this temperature just a little bit. Get that up to 250. And that should not take it long. It's now heating. And that is now at 250. Now these need to be flush with the surface. Need to be careful that I'm not gonna melt any of that. What you don't want to do is melt any single part of this. Make sure that your hand is steady, or use one of those heat insert presses. Because if you melt a portion of this, you are stuffed. Because things will not fit correctly when you try to get it together. That's it. And I hope I didn't, no, okay, I'm alright, yep. Right, so let me put this up here. Looks like I may have actually just a tiny bit. But if I can, because it's an outer locking piece, it's not going to affect it too badly, but I was very close. Where it just slightly touched it. And if it affects the model shape, it will prevent it from sliding in where it's supposed to. And I just need to make sure that any of that does not happen. There I was saying, be careful, and it's like, yeah, right, okay. Time to lower that back down a little bit. Put it back down at 230. There we go. Just a little cleanup. where it just ever so slightly touched it. And it was obviously hot enough to make a difference. But as long as I can, it's only on an edge corner that's not in the functional path. This is more like a locking area. Now let's just hit that with that so I can get a good clear indication of that. Yeah, that's all right. All right, saved. Okay. Scary times. Okay. I need this one. Yeah, I'd really not want to have to print these over, because I took my time on these to make sure each part was as it was supposed to be. I'm not going to push hard on that. I'm going to let it go in nice and slow so it gets a good solid bond. Like they said, this is going to be under constant tension, so you don't want it to really get messed up. Now these are actually for your standoff coming behind the motor to hold your tool head board. And because these are printed upright, the layer lines obviously go in an awkward direction. They did say you can get 20 millimeter you know, metal pieces like this, so it may be something to consider. I may actually do that if this happens to be too awkward, but let's see how they do. Sink that in quickly. There we go. Just about. It is very thin walled there, so it's not hard to get that to change a little bit, as you can see. Definitely not ideal, but it's not going to be holding something heavy as per se, but it is going to get a lot of mechanical movement potentially, so the strain relief might be a really good idea. There we go. That's that one. There we go. Right, that's that. Not exactly ideal, but oh well. Okay, so now we also have the 3 that we know about there, so I need 3 more. Let's put that up out of the way now. Now they haven't told us yet to cut those off flush, but I'm thinking it's going to be any moment that is going to come into play. I actually need 5 of these, and I'm going to need the 6mm flathead cap screw. And it's an M2 6mm FCH or FHCS. I need one more. go. Put that there. So, alright, let's get these in place. This one's a little easier because it doesn't have a lot of thin pieces hanging about it. I actually like ones like this. Less likely to damage your model. There we go. And then there's two on the bottom I have to do. There we go. That's it. Last one. Right. Now we have two down here. This is going to be the fun one, I think, because that is close to a thin plate piece. But I think it's far enough away that I can keep from touching that. There we go, that's one. There we go. Right, so that's that. That's those pieces. Now, what do we have next? That M2 flathead, which they like to refer to as anti-squishy thingy or something like that. I think I read it. It was absolutely hilarious when I read it. Into nuts. There we go. Two of those. 1, 2, 6. And there's two left of those. So you have one extra. Unless there's still one that's going to get used at some point, but who knows. There's actually one of these on the regular stealth burner as well. What it's there for is to prevent a certain amount of over tension, if that makes sense. Keeps you from allowing the extruder to squish the filament, which would be a bad thing. But basically it keeps you from over tightening it, as per se, when you're working with the tension knob. And it looks like for this they didn't even put anything. This is just self-tapping. If I remember correctly, on the original stealth burner they actually had a threaded insert with an M3 flathead. Yeah, that is right. That is the right spot. Just making sure that is threading its way in. I think I see a little bit of something. Oh, it's just on the outside. It's just a piece of excess stuff that popped up. That's fine. It's just something from that. Okay, so just putting that right in there and just carefully getting it to thread. Because if you do that really fast, it won't thread. It'll just cut, you know, like cut backward and strip it out, and then you have basically ruined your part. But if you can keep pressure on it, it'll tighten right down, just about flush. There we go. That's it. And then obviously to make it where less pressure can be put on the filament, you back that out, is how that works. So maximum tension in the filament would be reduced. Okay, time to assemble the guidler. So first step is, they say, to remove that bit, which is basically a built-in printed standoff, as per se, or support. Just kind of work it carefully, trying not to just break stuff out heavily. That's it. Cutting. Whoop. Knocking stuff all over the place here, me. There we go. That looks nice and clean. That's it. And I'm just a stickler for that, where it supports, you know, where it has that white look. That's it. Boom. There we go. Just a little whoosh. Okay, so with that, we want this way, and we also want one of our self-tapping screws, apparently. It adds rigidity, according to this. Just gives it a little bit more strength along the layer lines. So basically, you're adding the equivalent of a pin to reinforce the model across the layer lines. Now that's interesting, because they didn't, I don't think they did that on the original Stealth Burner, which was quite interesting. Now I need my little tiny plus head screwdriver. Is that it? No, that's flathead. That's the one. Okay, so basically, little self-tapping in here. That's the easy one, so put that in first. And just screw it all the way down in until it stops. And it's putting most of it right in here. That's probably the part that gets the most mechanical pressure. Okay, so now we need our idler, which is where this comes in. So, an idler here, and I wonder if they already, no they didn't. Now that's interesting. I think I just realized. Now, that's actually quite nicer, because the original would have used needle bearings. This is another thing that FYSETC changed. They gave it a set of nice helical hardened steel gears, which I'm rather impressed with. What they don't show us, and where I'm going to refer to the FYSETC video is whether or not they need anything else. And that's that. 2 little tiny bearings. And that will go in there like that. Yeah. And then we should have, yes we do, one pin. And I'm wondering though if there's supposed to be one of those spacers on it. Yeah, that's nice. I'm just wondering if one of those little spacers goes in there. So I'm just going to switch back over to the video and fast forward to where I need to be. Just going to try and get fast forwarded to where they're putting the idler together. Oh. Okay, so this is going to be one of the ones that are specific to this kit, and it's not in the video. That's interesting. Okay. I do suspect those little washers are for elsewhere, but I'm just going to double check. Thought so. Okay. This is a pull-on-die knowledge. So this is going to be partly down to me knowing the B&G style extruder. Because what's concerning me is these 2 little guys here. I don't think those are used on that. I think those are actually used on the idler for some reason. Because metal versus ABS, metal always wins. Metal versus metal is not so bad, but let's just put that up there for the moment. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be a thought that I have in my head as to whether or not now I know that this goes in there. I'm pretty sure in the back of my head that the Stealth Burner has never had a washer in here. Now that is just a perfect snug fit, so I'm going to need to get something that will let me press on that equally on all sides, and I don't think they provide anything for that. So what can I use that will let me feel comfortable pressing down on a bearing? Because these are supposed to be a snug fit, and if they're not lined up, they won't snap in. Let's just put that down like that. Yeah. Nope. No, I need something much wider. So, that sounds like it's time for something like this, maybe. No, bigger. This way, that's better. Boom, went right in, boom. Like I said, snug, tight, very tight tolerances on these. Very tight. I'm going to keep that to hand. That's that. Now, this doesn't get any inserts or anything like that, so I don't need to worry about that. So I think I'm right about this. Because this is going on the back of here, like this, if I remember correctly. And this is the same type of bearing that was used in the filament runout sensor. Yeah, that lines up. Yeah, okay. Right. Let's just get this back out. Right. Now let's just snap this down in place. Yep, that fits. Yes. Yes. So, time to look back a little bit. And they even started by assembling that other one goes here. So let's go ahead and get that right where it needs to be instead of leaving it on here. Just carefully slide that back off. So what you don't want to do is damage the shaft or the bearing. But everything has such tight tolerances on these. It's interesting because the back side of this actually has threads, which makes me wonder, do you put what appears to be an M3 nut on the back side? Which is interesting. I'm just trying to carefully get this back off without stressing the bearing. So apologies for the delay. I also don't want to fling it halfway across the room by putting a lot of pressure. I just want it to slide back off nice and easy so that when I put it in, there we go, it's just about there. It's kind of like making your own bearing puller out of your fingers, and in my case I'm using a small blade just so that I'm not putting a lot of pressure, but it's even and flat across it. There we go. Okay, so I can turn this off now. There we go. So this here, again, this goes in here. Nope, not going in unless I press it flat and even. Come on. That one's being a bit awkward. Let me see why. That's it. Boom. Nice and easy. Boom. Nice and tight, nice and in. Not going to fall out. Now there's an M3 nut that goes in here according to the Voron build guide, and they actually said to put just a little bit of super glue because you do not want that nut coming loose, but to try not to get it on the threads, which is for obvious reason. See, that literally sits right at the edge. Is that flat or is it? Oh, okay, it's just raised by normal. Let's look at the back side. Yeah, it's right flush. Okay, it's supposed to be like that. Press that down as far as it'll go. And then while I'm doing the rest of it, I can let that have just a little tad of super glue. Just a little tiny bit. I've gotten just a little bit on here and it's wicked its way down the side, which is awesome because that's exactly what you want it to do. There, just a little tiny bit around the edges. So that it locks itself in place. Nice. Right, I'll let that sit there for the moment. Let's see if they show putting any of the bolts in yet. Of course, let's go to a commercial break. Why not? Good, I can skip that. Okay. Okay, so they're not putting any of the screws in just yet. Even though, oh, I see. Yeah, I understand now. Why not? Because you have to do the rest with the idler and the latch. Okay. But did they already attach the latch together? Oh yeah, he did. Or didn't. That's a heat insert. There's the bit. Now, is he going to attach that? Okay, that's the mid-body. That's that. Right. That's the self-tapping screw for the guidler. M3 nut for the back of the motor body. Preload MR85ZZ, which we've done. That's the bearing. Okay, so they are having... Right, okay. So they are putting the pieces in place. Right, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Right, so with that, let's just work the finger along here. Work the fingernail more accurately. That is such a beautiful tolerance. Okay, so I think I'm right in this logic. I think these are supposed to go here to keep these bearings from ever coming too close to the plastic. And if they do, they won't wear away at it. And it also helps it to self-center. That is very, very slippery. But this is going to be in here, like so. Now, I'm going to do this slightly different than most people would. Most people would probably think, oh, snap that right in there. Nope, not me. I'm going to slide it in from the side. This way I'm not stressing those individual parts. Because if you weaken those, it weakens your idler. So I'm going to stick this through here, and I'm going to first, so that I don't have this get away from itself. Let's see, which side's going to let me do it the easiest? Let's see if this side will. That's it. So that side will let me do it. That means I gotta reverse this. This way I am not stressing those joints where it holds that, because that could be a potential weak spot later. I could be wrong, actually. I have a feeling I might be wrong, because they don't list this with these, and that looks like a much bigger shaft. That looks like it's for a much bigger shaft. I have a feeling that that goes between that and the thing. I think it does, actually. So I'm going to leave those there for a minute. And I think that's actually what it does. I'm going to just double check myself here after getting this together, because I don't remember ever having a BMG with those there, but I do something in the back of my head just said, nope, that goes elsewhere. So with that, let's get this pair of pliers and just carefully push that on through. There we go. This will let it self-center in a way when it comes time. That's it. There we go. And then just bring that up snug. Just a little bit of pressure. Not a lot, but just enough to get it to budge into that other side. That's it. Snap. Boom. And I'll just push it just a little nudge more. That's it. Nice. That should keep it running smooth. Oh. I think I wanted to see this. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so these actually go on here and on the back side, because this on the back is actually made of Delrin, and that potentially sliding around, moving around a bearing could cause it to be a little worn. I'm taking no chances because I seem to remember that those go like that. Okay. Right. So now let's get this. Where's my lever? Yeah, because this gets grabbed from the outside. That goes like that. This will go in here, I believe. Like so. Yeah, okay. Just see what that. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Just checking. That will eventually be like that. Okay. Now, this goes on top of here. As such. Yeah, things are starting to look like I remember them. Put my finger behind here. Let's see if I can get that down in there. Second, what's going on? I'm going to be gutted if that's the case. Hold on. See, they put these helical gears type And I'm wondering if that's the reason I'm having this tightness right now. I'm getting worried about that. No, actually, I shouldn't be, because that looks like that fits down in there. Hold on. Time to do a check. Because if that's the case, using this one that the person said that they remixed it from the original FYSETC part means that they didn't remix it from the one I wanted. That means I'm back to the yellow one that I did, which is rather gutting. Nope. Fits right in there. So what doesn't fit okay, that's very interesting. Let me just back up on this video, because this video used a different set of gears, and I'm really wondering now. Gears on this one are reversed versus this. However, that does, yep, okay, yep, it's just this. It's just this piece here being awkward. Alright. So there's just a little tolerance issue, that, or it's as like the back one, it's a very tight tolerance. So let's put this back up in here. I keep thinking that I've done something wrong in every case, because that's just how my head works. Yeah. And that, is that straight? Hold on. Just going to look at that and just compare that with the edge of a blade. That will give me a better idea. A little bit of a brim that I failed to trim off. That's why that looked like that. Okay. That's better. Yeah, small parts like this, they don't print great unless you have a brim or you use a raft. And a raft doesn't always work great for functional on internal parts, like a latch or a gear or things like that, unless you can get all of the brim off. There we go. That's better. That makes me feel a lot better about that. There we go. Okay. And yeah. Does that whole line up? Yes, it does. Okay. Right. Oops. Get back in there. I'm always questioning myself with regard to certain aspects. Well done, Dale. Let's just get that to go down through there. Yeah, I thought so. It's hitting the top of that bearing and it's not quite settling That's it. Got it. Right. Now I can put that latch in there. And of course I'm losing parts left, right, and center. Where'd that go? Every time that this is going to happen, does it while I'm... Okay, I'm going to have to pause this again and find where that little piece went.